What's up everyone, welcome back to ARTV. My name is John and it's time for another Top 10 Countdown. Today I'm going to be focusing in on the Detroit rapper, the icon himself, Marshall Mathers, aka Eminem. I've been listening to Eminem for as long as I can remember, which is probably like age 11 or 12. Probably a little bit younger than I should have been, especially given some of the messages of his songs. Maybe, just maybe, I understand why some of the parents were upset that their kids were listening to him, but at the same time, children are going to rebel, and Eminem, if it wasn't him, it would have been somebody else. So I guess be glad it was him, because at least he was making good music. Eminem has so many songs in his back catalog, and to be quite honest, even though I am a big fan of him, I find him to be a little bit more single heavy in terms of like the best quality. He knows what to pick, him and his team, I suppose. And my god, those are the ones that have stood the test of time, not really a ton of the deep cuts. What I'm hinting at here is that he has such an expansive discography that I wanted to go ahead and tell you what my numbers 15 through 11 would be, just because, you know, a top 10, that's all well and good, but with so many songs out there, I just decided to throw you a bone, and let's quickly do it. Number 15 on my list would be Spacebound. It's a great track with a lot of power in it. I can definitely see why that message has helped a lot of people. At number 14, I had Headlights featuring Nate Ruess. A very nice song dedicated to mending things, I suppose, with his mother and wanting to put that in the past. At number 13, we had Kim, which is horrifying, but it's also a character act. I think a lot of people forget that he acts as a character, whether that be Shady or a serialized version of himself. The song is intense, but my god, it's a nail biter and it just sounds great still to this day. Number 12 would be Berserk. However you like to pronounce that word, I say it weird sometimes, but this is a killer track that I do come back to a lot. And at number 11, just missing my top 10, we would have Kill You from the Marshall Mathers LP, because that song is catchy as hell, so fun, you want to shout along, and obviously it's fucked up in a lot of ways, but it's supposed to be. Now we can move straight into the actual top 10 countdown. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Please drop a like on this video, and let me know what other top 10s that you'd like to see me do in the future.
Music is like magic. There's a certain feeling you get when you reel and you spit, and people are feeling your shit.
On my number 10 selection, Till I Collapse, the late great rapper Nate Dogg teams with Eminem for one of the most motivating songs of all time. There's a reason why this cut from 2002 remains the top played workout track each year to this day. It gives you the feeling of being under pressure under the big lights of an arena somewhere, fighting it out as the underdog and taking home all the glory. M's flows are sharp and driven, and Nate Dogg's hook is irresistible when it comes to shouting along. Sure, this is Eminem's song and he carries much of it, but we also can't forget the age-old saying, it ain't a hit till Nate Dogg spit. R.I.P.
3 a.m. in the morning, put my key in the door, body's laying all over the floor.
Relapse is easy to tear into for several different reasons, but if you can ignore some of the more cringeworthy accents that are all over this thing, I'll admit, and focus on finding the gems, you'll see what you might have been overlooking. Both this and Relapse Refill had plenty of horrorcore influences, depicting dark and twisted lyrics from a killer's point of view on my number 9 pick, 3 a.m. The key-driven melody and flow works in being unsettling, and M's character acting works really well for his rhyme scheme. I've dug this one since the start back in 2009, and it continues to possess this unique energy that always makes it worth coming back to. Special shout out to Buffalo Bill that actually made my honorable mentions list. It's from Relapse Refill. It's another cut that if you're looking for something from the twisted fictional character point of view that M is coming from, then you'll definitely dig that one.
Hi kids, do you like Primus? Wanna see me stick 9-inch nails to each one of my eyelids?
More than 2 decades ago now, Eminem laid down the groundwork for what would become one of the biggest musical careers of all time by dropping this Slim Shady LP, a sprawling body of work that changed the game for the upcoming century. While it's definitely not my favorite album of his, it's got some major highlights, including a soccer mom's worst nightmare, My Name Is. Why a soccer suburban mom's worst nightmare, you might ask? Well, because My Name Is was Eminem's first major hit, and oh boy, the mothers out there were not happy that he was penetrating the children's eardrums with such vulgar filth. I was there and old enough to understand the impact that Eminem was having on the world. People feared him, and I even remember a kid walking into my Sunday school class at church one time when I was in like 2nd or 3rd grade, and he had bleached his hair blonde, he had the earrings now, and I was asking him what was going on, and he told me about Eminem and D12. The protest that they put up only made the budding star bigger though, and the impact of the both hilarious and dark My Name Is still felt for good reason.
You ever been hated or discriminated against? I have. I've been protested and demonstrated against.
Where's my snare? I need more snare! Look, I know M has buried the hatchet with his mom or whatever. I've heard Headlights. I already mentioned that track being just outside my top 10. But good God, if I don't love it when the anger and everything is just oozing out of this man on tracks like Cleaning Out My Closet. All the skeletons hiding at this point in his career were exposed, and as things got worse in the relationship with his mother, things got channeled into this song. What's amazing about this track to me is that I of course know the chorus, but it's in no way the most memorable part of the track. You'll focus in on the tightly coiled responses to his mom, diss after diss, raking her over the coals for her horrible lapses and judgments, and the many mistakes that she made as a parent. The song brought on a defamation lawsuit from his mother, which he more or less won, settling for a small amount of money that was seen as more of a loss for his mother rather than the famed rapper.
I remember back one year when daddy had no money. Mommy wrapped the Christmas presents up and stuck them under the tree and said some of them were from me.
I'm a huge sucker for seeing Eminem's vulnerable family man side, and damn it if this song doesn't know how to turn on the waterworks. His biological daughter Haley is the primary recipient, although his adopted daughter Lainey does get a special message at the end of the track. Marshall Mathers bears his soul and his true intentions for the family on this emotional moment, even taking time out to reflect on how he's rarely around for them and recalling a time when he couldn't even afford Christmas presents, which brought him to tears. Say what you will about the man and his controversies, but he loves and defends his family and kids vehemently, like any good father would. He takes the age-old bedtime song Mockingbird and then bends it to fit his narrative perfectly.
These rappers have brain damage, all the lean rapping, face tats rubbed out like tree sap. I don't hate trap, and I don't wanna seem mad, but in fact, what I owe me at the same cat that would take that.
The newest addition to the list is Lucky You from the KAMIKAZE album, featuring the also insanely talented rapper Joyner Lucas. Joyner takes hold of the first part, quickly erupting with flows before giving way to an M that actually sounds hungry for the first time in a long time. Something to prove, nothing to lose was the motto going in, and it worked like a charm, with Lucky You being one of the biggest aces up the sleeve. The replay value is ridiculously high, not just because of the two MCs, but because of the production crew behind it, Jahan, Sweet, and Boy Wonder. Those chiming bells swirled in with some deep bass makes this song feel tense and swift, the exact cutting advantage that it needed.
Slim Shady, yes, I'm the real Shady. All you other Slim Shadys are just imitating. So won't the real Slim Shady please stand up?
You already know this classic. Come on now. How much do you really expect me to say at this point that hasn't already been said before? Like, it's a classic for a reason, and I obviously love the song. You probably have heard it or already know it, so what can I add to the conversation? At one point, I had a good 90% of the song memorized. It was punchy, comedic, and magnetizing rap that every 2000s kid was glued to. It even seems like a lot of modern teenagers are being drawn to this stuff, and they're going back and discovering some of the classics like this, which definitely puts a smile on this old 27-year-old man's face.
You assuming I'm a human, what I gotta do to get it through to you? I'm superhuman, innovative, and I made a rubber so that anything you say is ricochet.
Just to make it clear, Rap God isn't appearing this high up on the list just because, oh, Eminem raps really fast and that's crazy, I haven't heard anything like that before. No, that's definitely part of it, sure, it intrigues me when he actually starts going fast and gets lightning quick, but the rest of the song, I mean, he's flowing and he's actually doing other stuff that's very interesting, and that's why I love the song, and then the fast rap is just the icing on top. This feels like a career-spanning song to me as he name-checks past controversies, reflects on his current place in the world of hip-hop, and dominates with fierce verbal takedowns. When this song released in 2013, I loved it immediately, but I really didn't think that it would hold up for this long and this well, but it's become one of those rap tracks that I can revisit anytime, anywhere.
Hit me back, just a chat, truly yours, your biggest fan, this is Stan.
Eminem went the extra mile on Stan, crafting something that would indeed become iconic. It's now ironic that stans overuse the word iconic when describing something that they, quote, stan, because the actual iconic song at the core, which is Stan, is about an over-obsessed fan, which wasn't meant to really be a positive thing. Now stans think of themselves as something else entirely, but being an overly obsessed fan certainly isn't meant to be looked at as a positive thing when it comes to this track. You could say that part of going that extra mile was him actually getting the singer Dido to recreate her song Thank You to fit as the chorus for Stan, even having her star in the music video as Stan's love interest. To say the effect that this song has is chilling would totally be underselling it. This is an overwhelmingly emotional track that sees Eminem addressing and also rapping from the point of view of an overly obsessed fan who sees himself in M's shoes and is like, my girlfriend's pregnant, I don't know how to handle it, and then M responds at the end of the track, but we realized, especially after watching the music video, that it's too late. Stan can't be saved, and he took himself to a very dark place that was really brutal, very fucked up, but M also encouraged him to be his own person. And I think that's still a message that rings true to anybody out there who is a stan of something. You're super obsessed with a band or an artist. Remember that they're just a person, and sometimes the music that they're putting out there, they're not actually doing those things. So don't always think that, oh, I'm just like them.
And you know you are their armor, and you will destroy anyone who would try to harm her. But what happens when karma turns right around to bite you?
Rewind to 2005 to find me in front of the TV watching rock and alternative videos all day on Fuse when suddenly they slip an Eminem song into the rotation. I knew the name, and I even recognized some of his most popular songs. I could probably name check them if somebody brought them up in conversation, but I never really knew the guy's music, if you know what I mean. When I'm Gone was that song that appeared on my screen, and I instantly felt a super real and very deep connection to it. You might recall what I said about Mockingbird and how I praised the subject matter, the family dynamic, and protection that he swore to take on. Well, When I'm Gone took the ante and the bar and just raised it so high for that subject matter. As here, we get Marshall Mathers taking a good long look in the mirror and seeing that maybe he truly is the source of all of the pain and problems in his life. Many of the lines here are M rapping conversations between himself and his young daughter Haley as he lies to her about where he's going and how long he'll be gone for. It all represents a portrait of a broken home and a family that's falling apart because of Marshall's substance abuse and life on the road. I truly believe this is his best song, but again, that's just my opinion, and I'd love to know what you think in the comments section down below. Thank you so much for tuning in to watch my top 10 favorite Eminem songs. Drop your top 10 in the comment section along with any thoughts on my list today. Please drop a like, and remember that we're all human, we all have our differing opinions, and this is just mine. If you haven't done so already, then please hit that subscribe button. I upload multiple times every single week, lots of music related content. If you want to see another Eminem featured video, then tap right there, or tap over here for the last top 10 countdown. Socials in the description along with my Patreon page, and I'll see you soon for more on ARTV.